Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to Centurions Review, the punk rock band of war game review institutions. I have done many reviews of decision games and mini games on my website. They're all text reviews, so I thought this time for once I'd do one that's a YouTube playthrough and review. So we're just going to do the first mission. Normally in this game you would, with the mission cards, you would shuffle them, and then whichever one you get, this is when you're doing just one mission, you just play that mission. Since it's going to be part of the campaign game, we're just going to do these in order. I'm just going to show you guys the first mission, the rest I'll play on my own. But it's scouting, so for setup, it says the alert level is 1, so we move the French alert level to 1. The higher that gets, the more likely it is that you're going to have combat. And then the mission is recover the intelligence. So when we reveal the objective that has the intelligence, normally you would just win the game, but since we're playing the campaign game, we have to bring it back to our start point here. Or if we build a ranger camp, we can bring it to that. And then execution is 6 ops. I've already shuffled these, so we draw 6 cards. That will be our deck. We don't look at them, so there's 6 cards. Just place them here. And logistics, 8 recruiting points we can use to buy units and equipment. And command rating of 3, which means the stacking limit for my rangers is 3. That means my combat units, I can only have 3 of them. However, leaders do not count towards stacking, and equipment does not count towards stacking. And if you're carrying an objective back, that does not count towards stacking. And you notice here there's a little box to put your raider recruits and stuff. I don't use that. There's not enough room. I just keep them in a cup. It's easier for me that way, but whatever works for you. So first thing we're going to do is place the objectives. We have to roll to see where they go. So that is a 9 on the table here. That's Fort Frontenac, which is right down here. Roll for the second one. We get a 6, which is Fort William Henry. Right here. What's interesting about this is right near the start point, so theoretically if that is the objective I need, I could win in 2 turns. Alright, roll for the next one. So it's a variable amount of operations you're going to need generally to win. So that was a 3. Isle on Knox, I can't pronounce French, so I don't know how to say that. And then I get a 4, Fort Oswego. Seems like every time I play this game, there's always one on Fort Oswego. Maybe it's because there's 2 ways to roll it. Okay, 9. Did we roll that again already? Yeah, that's Fort Frontenac. So let's go again. 7, Ticonderoga. That always seems to be in play too. And I have 1 left here. That's a 3. We already did 3, so let's roll again. And that is an 8, St. Francis, which is up here. So as you notice, the most difficult objective to get to is this one here. The rivers on here you can travel without a boat. I guess it's just assumed you have rafts or something. But here on Lake Ontario, this space here, you need to purchase a boat to travel it. So now it's time to pick units. And remember, the stacking limit is 3. So let's pick our free unit first, which is Mr. Rogers himself. Not from Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, though. This guy is much more dangerous than that guy. Alright. So that was free. Alright. Let me find a tough unit here. Well, we're going to need a ranger unit. Both of these guys are scout. They both have the scouting ability, so I want 2 with that. So the leader has it and the unit. Here's one. This is a tough unit. That is a strength of 4. Very tough. Alright, so each of these costs 2. So now I have 2 recruit points left. And I'm going to purchase supplies. So the supplies will go with. There's a card or 2 in here where if you have supplies, something good happens. And then we'll also go over, before we start the game, the other equipment you could have chose. I'll show you them in the book so you get an idea of the type of equipment you can buy. And the first phase is the scouting and recruiting phase. So later on in the game, now I'm down to 0 recruit points. If you get more recruit points at the beginning of each turn, you can purchase a unit. If you do, it has to start here, though. But you can purchase equipment, and it will start with your stack. So that's good. All right, so let's go over the equipment here. Gunpowder barrel, you use that to blow up things. Hatchet adds to your combat strength. Long rifle adds the tactical edge. Tactical edge is the most important thing in all these mini games because it allows you to shoot first and anything you kill does not get to fire back. So you always want to have tactical edge. And then there's boats there. I mentioned supplies. Here's what they can do. At the start of a movement segment, to move a raider force in extra space, you can discard your supplies. Alright. Or you can discard your supplies to do maximum firepower during combat, to roll the die 2 times for each raider unit in the force. That's nice. Or certain op cards provide bonuses for expending supplies, so I like having supplies. Alright, let's go to the operations. Recruiting and scouting segment. During the recruiting and scouting segment, we can either scout an objective that's adjacent to us, or you can recruit. If you had recruit points, I'm down to 0 right now, but you can get more later during the game. If that's the case, any unit you recruit would start in this safe space here or on a ranger camp if you built one. However, if you buy equipment, that just you assign that to a member of your stack. So let's scout this objective. The rules don't say, I have 2 scouts in there, Roger Ranger himself and a ranger unit. It doesn't say if each gets the scout or just one. I'm just gonna say it's just one. So I rolled even. If you roll even, you can reveal the objective. So I reveal it, and it's in an abandoned cabin. So we're not going to go in that space. It's 0 recruit points because anytime you move into a space with a objective that hasn't been removed from the board yet, you have to stop. So we're just going to skip that space. So we'll do our movement. Our slowest unit moves 2. It's this guy here. So let's move. 1, 2. Alright, get to that space. So now it's the operation card segment. Wilderness challenge, roll a die and see what happens. I roll a 3 to 4. If you have a long rifle, gain 1 point. Otherwise, lose 1 point, never lower than 0. I don't have any recruit points, so nothing happened. Alright. Combat segment, there is none. Now objective segment, we can reveal it without rolling since we're on the space. And it's prisoners. Since we freed the prisoners, we get 1 recruit point according to this here. Alright, and we will start the next turn. So it's recruiting and scouting. Let's see here. These are French forts, and if you move into a French fort, you immediately have to stop. So we move this way and we have to stop. We can't do our full move. And then we do our operation card segment. Rules for ranging, we hold on to this card. I can use it to automatically gain tactical superiority or implement the guides rule. The guides rule basically says if I draw a card I don't like, I can put it on the bottom of the deck and draw another. Alright, so combat segment, there is none. Objective segment, there is none. So recruiting and recon. We do have 1 recruit point, so I'm going to use the recruit point to buy a long rifle. It says it's 1 recruit point there. I put that with the stack. That just gives me +1 when I roll for tactical edge, because tactical edge is very important in this game. So now we move. 1, 2. Alright. And after movement is operation card segment, massacre. Use the random placement procedure. I roll a 6, which is Fort William Henry. Do I have anything in that space? Yes, I do. That's the abandoned cabin. There's an objective in it. Remove it. Then use the random placement procedure to replace it on the map. So this will be moved to, let's roll to see where it goes, to 7, which is Ticonderoga. Where's Ticonderoga? So it just moved to the space next door. No big deal. Alright, so put that there, and then reveal the objective. It says hostile, so I get 1 recruiting point. Let's see what this does, hostile. Hostile village to be destroyed. This remains in place until destroyed by demolition. The instance that a ranger unit destroys it, you gain 1 op or 1 victory point, so I didn't actually gain that recruiting point. I don't have any demolitions with me. So I'm just going to have to ignore that space then. Alright. So with recruiting, I'm going to purchase an axe for 1 point. Remember, equipment does not count towards the stacking limit, which is 3 for this scenario, so I'm down to 0 recruit points. And I'd like to move 2, but I have to stop here because it's a French fort, and I have to stop when I move into that space. And let's draw a card. Making a alert check. Rolled greater than the alert level, nothing happens. Alright. And then combat nothing, objective nothing. Alright. So we'll do our recruiting and scouting nothing. Movement. We'll move to this space. Alright, and do the operation card. We only have 2 left. Montcalm's army, add 1 to the alert level, then go to the combat procedure for the operating force. I'm glad I drew this card because it's the second time I made this video. The first game I played, there was no combat whatsoever, and what good is that video? So that was like a 1 in a million thing, so I'm very happy that I drew this. I was getting worried that I was going to have another video that I had to redo. So, combat procedure. To do that, we roll a dice to see how many bad guys there are. There are 2 bad guys, and we line them up. We just randomly draw them from here, from this cup. So we have a leader with a combat factor of 2, but he has a plus, which means on the tactical edge roll, he will, get a +1 to his roll. So then I line up my guys too. Alright. Put Roger there, and we'll give the hatchet to the first guy. And we have, I don't think we're going to need to use supplies to fight twice. Alright, so let's roll for tactical edge. I got the long rifle and Roger, so I get +2 to tactical edge. They get +1 to it. So my roll is a 5 + 2 is 7. Their roll is a 3 + 1 is 4, so I go first. Hatchet adds 1 to his combat value, so Alright, so since he has a hatchet combat value of 5, so he rolls 1 dice and he needs a 1 through 5 to hit. Rolls a 5, so he's going to kill this Indian unit here. Now it's this leader's chance to go. He rolls 1 dice and he needs a 1 or a 2 to kill a unit. He does not, so this next guy goes and he needs a 1 through 4 to kill an enemy unit. Yes, he does. So they're all killed. So the first thing you do is you roll a dice, and if you get a 6, you get a free leader. Nope, then roll a 6. So win combat, gain 2 ops, so that's good. Alright, so gaining 2 ops means I draw from the reserve deck, I draw 2 cards and I put them on the bottom of my current deck. So that saves me from running out of ops. So let's put everyone back on the objective space. I mean, really, I should just be moving Roger around and leaving the other guys off board since I'm, because the stack keeps falling down and stuff, but whatever. We'll do it for aesthetics, we'll have the whole stack. Alright, so he's on this space. And he reveals the objective as the last part, and it's intelligence, so he immediately gets 1 recruiting point. And now, since he would normally win instantly, but since we're playing the campaign game, he has to carry that to here or create a ranger camp and bring that to it. So he's just going to carry it, I think. So we'll do the next turn. We go back to the operations. Sure. Sequence of play, recruiting and scouting, nothing. Movement segment. We're going to move 2 here. Alright, operation card. Fortunes of War. Let's see what happens with that. Roll a dice. Roll a 2, gain 2 recruiting points. That's nice. Alright. Did operate no combat and no objective segment. So now we're on the next turn and recruiting and scouting. I wish to purchase a ranger camp for 2. Alright, where's my, let me find that in the cup here. Alright, so he places the ranger camp on his space, which means he immediately wins because he brought that, because the mission was to bring the intel to either a ranger camp or to the starting space here. So that's a victory. So let me tell, since this was part of the campaign game, there would be 3 more missions. I'm not going to show you all 3 missions. You have to buy the game if you want to see those, but let me explain what happens in the campaign game. So at the end of the campaign game, if Putnam, who is a leader, is in play, and he ends at Rogers Island, which is there, or the ranger camp, he remains in play for the next scenario, which is nice. Win or lose, you retain half the recruiting points you have, plus the number of op cards remaining rounded down. So that is how many additional recruit points you'd have. So like for mission 2, let's say it was 3 you had left at the end. Then this one starts with 10, so you'd start with 13 on the next mission and so forth. And you have to complete, what do you call it, the final mission to win the campaign. So anyhow, we will go to the review portion now. So what did I think of Rogers Rangers, America's First Commandos? I like it, but it's a very simple game. Most of the games from the minigame series from Decision Games are simple games. The rules are very similar between all of them. The battle procedures are similar during between the games, but some of them there's some slight differences. So one good thing about the minigame series, all the different titles, is that if they're in the same series and you play one game, you don't have to use the scenario rules to learn a new game in that series. But if you buy something from a different series in the mini game system, it's still pretty similar. So one problem that you'll run into is, like, I ran into this problem the other day when I was playing this game. The day beforehand, I had played one of the Commando series mini games, and the battle procedure was slightly different. So when I started playing this game, I started using that, and in the middle of combat, I realized I was using the battle procedure from the wrong game, since the games are so similar, but that's a minor thing. As far as the price is fantastic. It's $14.95, I think, or is it $17.95, one of the two. It's really inexpensive. You're not going to find really any war games that are less expensive than that, so the price is right. This is a game for people who like low complexity games. If you like extremely complex games or extremely detailed games, you don't want to play this game. This isn't for you. But if you like low complexity games, you're going to enjoy it. Did find a few snafus in the rules, like, what were they? The Pioneer unit is not on the recruiting chart, so you don't know how much it costs. So I had to go online and look around and see what everyone else was doing in this situation, and I guess the general consensus online is that it costs the same as a Ranger unit, which is 2 points, or at least that's what everyone's doing, just so they can play the game. So that's what I did. On missions where I used the Pioneer, I just paid 2 points for them. The first time I played the game, it's talking about scouting ability, you know, for the first phase where you can scout an objective, and I could not figure out how you tell if your unit has a scouting ability. I just assumed that the Ranger units had it, but I looked online, and well, it turns out the back of the counter says Scout on it, so I felt a little stupid when I saw that, but yeah, so just look at the back of the counter to see if it has a scouting ability. There was one card in here, I forget what it was called, but it had a less than or equal to when it was talking about the alert level, when I personally think it should have been greater than or equal to, so I don't know if that was a misprint or what, but that's a minor thing. My friend who I had play this game, it's a solitaire game, so I showed him how to play it. He played it, he liked it, he thought it was on the simple side and really easy to win, but he liked it. He said one thing that was interesting about it is, just like in real Ranger missions, you get the mission you're given. Sometimes it's an easy mission, sometimes it's a difficult mission, And sometimes what you think is an easy mission turns out to be a difficult mission. Like if you get one of the easy missions and then it turns out the objective you're looking for is way far away on the map, and you run the risk of running out of recruiting points before, or not recruiting points, operations before you get to it. So I played this game a lot of times, probably played like 20 some missions, and I only lost a mission like twice, and both times it was because I ran out of operations. I never had a circumstance where I was like wiped out in combat. Because I've played so many of these mini games, I knew the importance of tactical edge, so I always made sure I had the equipment or needed to get bonuses, extra bonuses in tactical edge. So, but anyhow, I recommend the game. If you're the type of person who likes low complexity war games, you're going to like it. If you like high complexity, highly detailed games, well then it's not the game for you. But anyhow, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, and please click like on this video if you liked it. And as always, have a good evening.